Hi there, this is Rob Heppel, and thank you for your interest in our cremation arrangement website system process. What I want to share with you today is really what we've done over the last few years to go from just creating online cremation arrangement websites to having a complete system of lead generation, bringing them through the funnel, getting them to transact and make their arrangements online, and then letting them know the stages of where their loved one is, and then also following up with them to get referrals and further communicate with that family. So I've broken this down into 5 parts and just want to share this with you. And depending on what you're doing currently, or you can add on to your current website. You can get your website rebuilt and modernized. It's entirely up to you. So this is a complete system, but it can also be sections of it can be added to your existing process. And what we're going to focus on here is, first of all, is the speed to lead. And that's a term that you might hear out in general marketing circles. It's quite common. When I started in funeral service, you'd never want to phone back an inquiry right away. It would look like we're needy, and we weren't giving people space. Now, if you put some time between when they've asked for information and when you get back to them, they're just going to start to look for other people. So especially for online cremation, that market, speed to lead is super important. Next to that, then, once they get on your site, is we don't want to have we want to have limited friction as they go through the process. We don't want them to have to jump through hoops to phone the funeral home to get a number, or to get access to the further part of the website. Those are all friction points, and we've eliminated that. We do have touch points that if they need help, they can request help, but otherwise they can walk through the process just like when they're shopping at Amazon. And then overall, they're going to have a better experience, and that's what we want to do. This is a different type of client than would come into the funeral home itself. But once we've served that family, then we want to serve more of that family, and so we should even integrate pre-need, and then kind of that next step after everything's completed. So let's go through the 5 steps, and I'll explain them to you. So first, we want to make sure that you can be found, and so SEO, especially local SEO, that has changed incrementally. But still, there's a lot of things that we can do. We can make sure that your website is getting found in the right ways. But also now we need to incorporate Google AI, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity. All those things also need to take into account, and it's different than old school SEO. So we would want to make sure that we're looking after both of those for your website and your online presence. And then we still need to, and these kind of work together too. So creating content that is going to attract people. When they search in like ChatGPT, they're searching much longer. They're probably speaking into it, and they're speaking in sentences, just not a few words. So we want to make sure that you can be found by answering a number of different questions that they may have, and that's part of our process too. Then from there, we want to make sure that we're getting your reviews and building that up so that we're continually connecting with families to create reviews, because that's just going to help people at the top of the funnel come in, because that's another ranking factor, the number of reviews. And so it's just not who has the highest score out of 5 or who has the most reviews. The third factor, those two are important, but the third factor is, what have you done lately? And if you have 200 reviews and the last one was a year ago, and then your competitor has 25 reviews that have all been in the last 6 months, they have just as good a chance of outranking you as even though they've got less. It's more recent. But all three of those come into account. Also, from what I've learned, is as long as you have a rating factor between 4.4 and 4.9 is good. If you have 250 reviews and it's 5 stars, it actually looks a little like, people may not trust that as much. Now, over time, especially once you get over 100, you might have 101 5-star reviews and 1 4-star review. You're going to be, even if you get a 1-star review, you're going to get rounded up to your 5.0. So anyway, at least 4.4, 4.5 and above is really recommended, and also that you respond to reviews, and we help you do that. We help get reviews, and then we also provide you with a response so that you can respond to all reviews as well. So that's the first part of at least connecting and getting the attention of people to then bring them to your website. Now we'll go to step 2. Now in step 2, what I call our funnel-based website, is the first thing is we've realized, and hopefully you have too, is even though cremation arrangement websites are similar to funeral home websites because they're dealing with with someone being deceased, but from there things are a bit different. People are coming to a cremation arrangement website to make arrangements. They're not there for the obituaries. They're really there to either get information or to make the arrangement. And what we've done is we have now started to make all of our home pages more of a funnel, and so we're really reducing the number of navigation points, things like that, and we're leading them down through the process of providing information to them up front. So we're excuse me, we're letting them know how much the arrangements are right off the bat, or where they're starting from, and then the process, and working them through. So we want to make sure first that it's a mobile first experience. 2/3 to 3/4 of the folks are going to be on either a mobile or a tablet. You just need to walk around at either an airport or a hotel and see the number of retired people who are on their tablets, and that's how they're spending their time. And they're not necessarily on a laptop or on a desktop computer. They spend a lot of their time on these mobile devices, and they can be phones as well. So we need to make sure that we cater to those. And there are some people that follow the shop on mobile, buy on desktop philosophy, and obviously these websites will cater to both, but we need to make sure that it's not desktop first, because a lot of people are not starting their process there. We also want to have clear calls to action so that we're telling them you can start your arrangements here. And we want to let them know how much this is going to cost, or at least where it's going to start from, because we have to be transparent with that information. We don't want to hide it. We don't want there to be a set number of clicks that they have to go through to find out that information. Also on that funnel page, we want to have trust signals such as online reviews on there. So we lead people down, the more we give them multiple options to start their arrangements. And as they keep scrolling down the form, if they need more information, we give that to them. And then hopefully eventually they get to the point where they click start arrangements and go from there. Now, just in case they're not ready yet to start the arrangement process, we have a number of options for them to get assistance. So we have our AI chatbots. We also have AI voice agents that will either answer by text or answer by voice questions that they have. What we do is we create with your assistance a knowledge base that we then upload into the system, and it has a number of those FAQs and pricing information so that when those questions are asked, they can be asked right on the website and the person can get the answer. And this even includes, there's no more having to send your phones to the answering service, because the answering service within the system can be hooked up to the phone number, or just your regular number just gets forwarded on to a new number, and then the AI voice agent will answer the questions. And it's not just a set of recorded messages. It listens to what questions are being asked and then responds. It uses the person's name, and then afterwards it will provide the information that they ask, or if they can't answer the question, then they'll get referred to to the human, or maybe that's an email or a text message to your staff where they can pick it up from there. But most of those questions can be answered online, and this is 24/7 with not having to hire any staff to do it at all. Also, if someone asks in a different language, they ask questions, these AI agents can respond in the language that they're asking. And finally, they can then be also qualified in how urgent their lead is, and it can get them directed to a person or directed to a certain part of the website to continue the arrangements. Then if they've had any questions and now they've been answered, or if they've just come onto the website and selected start arrangements, this is where what we've done for over a decade really comes into play. We've switched the process from what funeral homes do, where they collect vital stats information first and get people to sign the forms, and then finally they talk about payment and that. We've flipped the script, and we've done this again for over a decade, where we get them to select and pay first of the services. And as I say, it's always better to chase people to get a form signed than to chase them for a credit card. Once we get that, we've taken their payment, they go and they complete their vital statistical information. That automatically pre-populates all the forms that need to be signed, and they can sign those electronically. And so that you can, if this happens in the middle of the night or early in the morning, and you come into work and turn on your computer and check your email, you can see that they've paid and they've completed all the forms, and it's just ready to go. All that part's been looked after. And now that they've completed the arrangements, it's not over yet. That's where you come in, and you're going to have to start to do some of the physical steps in the process, but our system can notify them and let them know what's happening, so they can be notified once the transfer has been completed and that the loved one is in our care, that any documentation has been received, and when the cremation is scheduled, when it's been completed, and then when the cremator remains are ready, and then even giving them an opportunity to upgrade to a celebration of life if you have that capacity, or maybe you have a relationship with another funeral home for that, and even further follow-ups, whether it's the anniversary, whether it's going to be asking for reviews or referrals. That's all part of the automated family communication system in our program. So this has gone way beyond just a website. And this system looks after everything that we've talked about today. So you don't have to have one little app doing this and another app or another service doing that. All these things can be done all in one system, and we obviously manage that for you. And then you do what you do best, looking after the families, that personal touch, and we look after all the rest. So if you'd like to find out more about how we can start or improve what you currently have, please reach out to me. You can just go to funeralfutures.com/meet, MEET. We will set up a time and we can review things and get started from there. Also, feel free to just send me an email at robin@funeralfutures.com for any more information you need. Thanks a lot for your time, and I hope to talk to you soon.